What's going on, Facebook? What's going on, YouTube? I appreciate you guys so much for being here. I have a nice presentation. I got my little computer. I got some news articles as well. Associated Press, CNN, NBC News, Bloomberg, pretty mainstream stuff. And I want to talk about the FDA's decision to basically, I don't know exactly what sort of legal authority they have. Obviously, they're the Food and Drug Administration, but they've decided to not agree with giving booster shots to 16 and older, but they do agree with it giving to, I believe, 65 and older, if that's the age. Let me see real quick. Yep, 65 and up. So, yeah, they decided to kind of go against what Biden said. I don't know if it's like a complete disagreement, but a lot of people are shocked because they thought that they were just going to roll out the boosters for everybody, but it seems like they have some concerns. They cited some health concerns, some age-related concerns, and I have it all here. And I got videos as well. So, in case there's any, we have a bunch of people here. God bless you guys. Hope you're having a good weekend. I know there's some haters, there's some fact checkers. A lot of people like to lurk and just, look in the shadows and just scream things and say, no one's allowed to talk about anything except for us. So that's why I always got my news articles ready for you guys. And if you guys want to look it up for yourself, you can do so. First thing I want to talk about real quick, this is Associated Press. It's about a drone strike. It doesn't have to do with the FDA, but I found it very disgusting. This is something that seemed to happen a lot under Obama as well. Not to say that Trump is innocent. There's been situations he's involved in too, but I just do find it strange. It's kind of like ISIS, right? When Obama was in, ISIS is taking over Syria. Trump gets in, ISIS is virtually eliminated. They still have a little bit of space there, I believe, in Idlib. But in general, now all of a sudden Biden's back in office, and I'm hearing stories like this again, which is just heartbreaking. Associated Press, it says breaking. Innocent civilians, not extremists, were killed in August 29th U.S. drone strike in Kabul, the head of U.S. Central Command says, and I'm just going to read from the article. It says Pentagon reversed itself, calls deadly Kabul strike an error, so they made a mistake with a drone. It says, for the days after the August 29th strike, Pentagon officials asserted that it had been conducted correctly despite 10 civilians being killed, including 7 children. So apparently that's what the Biden administration is doing with my tax money. Oh, we have to raise taxes on everybody who makes over $400,000 a year. Oh, we have to raise your taxes. Oh, no, we need 25, 30%, whatever. Oh, you're working class. We're still going to take your tax money. And then they just go and bomb children and lie about it. And then oh, sorry, we killed 7 children with a drone strike. I guess the Obama era is back. Diplomacy's back, baby. No more mean tweets, but they're drone striking children again. It's just disgusting. And before I get into the FDA story, I do want to say this, folks. The top 1% of the top 1%, the billionaire class, the people who really are able to use their, financial influence to mold and manipulate the world, these people are not going to be affected by a tax increase. When Biden says he's going to raise taxes on people $400,000 and over, it's going to be small business owners, entrepreneurs, the competition to the top 1% of the top 1%. So if they're hiking up the taxes on the billionaire class, that's a lot different than hiking taxes on people who compete with the billionaire class. So this is not going to, hurt Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos's bank account. It's going to hurt people on the come up, entrepreneurs and people who are like semi-rich or semi-doing well, and even just average families who have a lot of kids and stuff. That's who it's going to hurt. And then they take our money. And I'm sorry, I don't want to get on a tangent, but what do they do with our money? Are they so great with tax money, or are they they're drone striking children again? Oh, of course. Oh, they're so good. Oh, they take our money and they fixed homelessness in California, right? Oh, no, they didn't. They fixed homelessness in Hawaii. Oh, no, they didn't. They're paving roads. Are they? I don't see that many roads paved. Are they stopping crime in Chicago? No, they're using it against us. They're locking us down. They're telling us that we're so terrible. And then they're allowing basically the border. There's like tens of thousands of people waiting there from other countries. We are such a weak, pathetic country. But in general, I don't even want to get off on a tangent, but, drone strikes are back. It's disgusting. I want to show you this real quick as we start. I found this funny. It's Washington Post. I actually printed it out backwards so you can see it, Facebook. I'm nice. It says, perspective. Natural immunity to COVID is powerful. Policymakers seem to be afraid to say so. Just look at that real quick, YouTube. And I'm gonna hold it up. Look, come on. I printed it out backwards so y'all can see it straight. You see that? It says perspective. Natural immunity to COVID is powerful. Policymakers seem afraid to say so. Weird. Washington Post. That's Washington Post, folks. Look at the picture of Biden. He looks so nice in a mask, doesn't he? So strong, not submissive at all. I'm not saying this stuff. This is not something I made up. I do it because it's backwards for Facebook. This is the Washington Post. Natural immunity to COVID seems powerful. I wonder why. I wonder why policymakers would be afraid to say so. Well, let's see. Is there a big pharma, that pays billions of dollars to influencers, politicians, etc., lobbyists? Is there a big natural immunity? Does my immune system have a big pharmacy lobby or a big lobby in Congress that has a lot of power and money? It's like, no, God, your God-given immune system. I'm not saying it's perfect and you're going to live until you're 1,000. And I'm not saying you shouldn't take care of yourself, but I am saying there isn't a huge lobby in Washington for your immune system. So I wonder why Washington Post, I can't fathom why could there be like financial, no, that's a conspiracy theory. I mean, it's not like they take their money and literally pay people to do what they say. I mean, that's like literally their industry. And we've always known that's what lobbying is. You think they're doing it for fun? Oh, let's give $1 billion to this politician just because we really like it. No, they want somebody that they can mold that will pass policies that they want to be passed. It's like, what? I don't even want to get into it, but let's get into the FDA, the big story. So FDA advisory group rejects COVID boosters for most, limits to high-risk groups, says NBC News. FDA advisory panel overwhelmingly voted against giving Pfizer-BioNTech COVID booster shots to most people on Friday, agreeing only to distribute them to people ages 65 and up, as well as those of high risk of severe illness. So they voted against it for 16 and up. We're going to get to why they did it. This is a Barron's. I think it's like mainly like a stock newspaper, Barron's. I've read like financial reports there, but it's a funny headline. I just wanted to read it aloud. They said, FDA panel votes no on Biden's booster shot plan. Drug stocks fall. Isn't that interesting? The more they sell, the more money they get. The more they sell, the stock goes up. As soon as they're not giving booster shots to everybody in the country, wow, their stock falls. I'm sure they have no financial incentive at all. It's a bunch of just nuns and priests just, let's never get corrupt. Let's never make mistakes. Let's just do what's right for humanity and just heal the world. I'm sure that's what they're doing. God bless those people. But this is CNN. So and once again, I'm not a big CNN fan, but I just want to show people, whether you're left wing, right wing, I'm not making this stuff up. It's not like a far right conspiracy theory. Even CNN's telling you what happened. It says 5 reasons why FDA advisors did not recommend COVID-19 booster shots for everyone, because they didn't. One of the, you could read the article for yourself, but I'm just telling you, I'm reading CNN Health. It says they are worried about younger adults and teens. So this is one of the main sites that the FDA said the reason they didn't approve booster shots or recommend booster shots for 16 and up is they said they're worried about younger adults and teens. Well, what are they worried about? Let's just read. It says, we're being asked to approve this as a 3-dose vaccine for people 16 years of age and older without any clear evidence that the 3rd dose for a younger person when compared to an elderly person is of value. So the FDA is saying, we don't see the value right now for a booster shot of ages 16 and up. And then they followed it up. This is CNN Health. I know there's Facebook fact checkers who just sit and lurk because my page is crushing it. Listen, I'm out here just reading this article, so you guys should read it too. I know you like to pick and choose, but anyway, it says, if it's not of value, then the risk may outweigh the benefits. And we know that the 16 to 29-year-old bracket is at higher risk of myocarditis, he added. So that heart inflammation that people are getting, it's not everybody's getting it, but it does seem to be a thing among younger men. They've studied that. They've set out a warning. I think the CDC set out a warning and a label. But in general, they're saying, well, if you're younger, it might. And this is what we've been trying to talk about for a year now. It's like, we're not telling anybody to get a vaccine or not get a vaccine. It's like, you do what is right for you, your doctor, how you feel. But it's like if you're a bodybuilder and you're like 23 years old, it's a lot different than being like an obese 70-year-old. So there are pros and cons to everything. It's worth talking about. Thank God the FDA is admitting that. They're like, we're not even sure that it's a good idea. Let me keep reading because it's interesting. It says the FDA's Dr. Doran Fink told the meet. That's a fantastic name. Doran Fink told the meeting the agency was not sure either. We really don't have enough data yet to know what the risk of myocarditis or pericarditis would be following a booster dose, he said. Studies have shown that younger adults and older teens, especially males, have a higher risk of this rare heart inflammation after receiving the mRNA vaccine like Pfizer's, although the problem resolves quickly with prompt treatment. In some, I'm saying in some, they didn't say that, but I'm just saying in general, I'm sure most people do get treatment and it's completely better. But, I don't know if every single person is like that, but we'll see as time goes on. Details on the risk might not come out. However, Fink said, until the booster doses were given more widely, we have discussed the need for such investigations with the vaccine manufacturers, Fink said. I don't think we would feel comfortable giving it to a 16-year-old for all of the reasons that everyone raised, said Dr. Eric Rubin. So before we move on, I just want to say the reason that they're not giving this to everybody is they're citing safety risks and they're just guessing. I don't know that they know, but they don't see the data for the risk benefit ratio for younger kids, especially given that there are people in that age bracket that are suffering from heart inflammation and they're not sure what a third booster dose would do. I want to show people, this is Bill Gates, the legendary William Gates, who explained this last year. I like this video because he's very, regardless of what people say, I mean, Bill Gates kind of just tells you what's going on in his head. And that's why people are like making up theories. I'm like, you don't have to make up theories. Just listen to the guy talk. He'll tell you what he's doing. He's like, I'm doing GMO mosquitoes because I want to do this. I'm buying farmland. It's like, just anyway, he explains, well, we're trying to make a one size fits all, right? So we got to jack it up so it works in elderly people, but we don't want it to be too strong that it hurts younger people, essentially. So it's a very interesting thing to do because they're saying, oh, it's a one size fits all. If you look at, and I know a vaccine is not a pill and an mRNA vaccine is not a regular vaccine, but in general, if you look at a pill, every time I'm not a big pill taker, but it's like if you're 16 years or older, you take this many. If you're bigger, if you weigh this much, if you're this age, you take more. So with the vaccine, it's not easy as like snapping your fingers and be like, oh, we got it. It's like, no, they do have to have safety trials. They do have to eventually have long-term trials. And also they're trying to make a one size fits all medicine that works in a 90-year-old, but also works in a 16-year-old or even like an infant. They give a lot of people. So he explains that not only is that a difficult thing to do, but if they give this vaccine to the whole world, he says they need indemnification. And if you listen to this, I'm going to play it. Indemnification, if you look up the definition, it means to compensate for harm or loss. So Bill Gates acknowledges, yeah, there are going to be some side effects. Some people are going to get hurt. It might be in large groups of people if we give it to billions of people, and we're going to have to make sure to compensate those people for the harm that is caused. I'm not making this up. This isn't a conspiracy. Just like what I read was just CNN Health. It's not a conspiracy either. So listen to Bill Gates. He'll explain exactly what they had to do in order to get this out there, which involved indemnification through the PrEP Act. And also Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, they have no liability for side effects and injuries. So the compensation comes through a little crappy government program that is not even that easy to access. And even CNBC admitted that. But let's listen.
Doing that so that you amp it up so it works in older people, and yet you don't have side effects. If we have 1 in 10,000 side effects, that's way more, 700,000 people who will suffer from that. So really understanding the safety at gigantic scale across all age ranges, pregnant, male, female, undernourished, existing comorbidities, it's very, very hard. And that actual decision of, okay, let's go and give this vaccine to the entire world, governments will have to be involved because there will be some risk and indemnification needed before that can be decided on.
So he understands, like he's not, I'm going to play another clip after that, but in general, Bill Gates understands, well, yeah, if we're giving this shot to the whole world and, 1 in 10,000, that's the example I think he uses, 1 in 10,000 has something happen. Well, if you give it to the whole world, that's going to be like hundreds of thousands of people or whatever. So he's like, there is going to be some risk and we do need indemnification. So this idea that, oh, it's crazy that the FDA is doing this. I know there's a lot of people on the left that are just like vaccine supremacists where they're just like, give it to everyone all the time. And it's like, no, there is a process to it. First of all, usually they take 4 or 5 years to look over it before they approve it. Not this one. But in general, it's like, yeah, it's not easy to make something that works in everyone. And especially if you find evidence like the FDA is finding where young males are having a higher chance of getting something, then it's like, hey, let's slow our brakes a little bit. I'm glad the FDA is doing this. I think it's very honorable of them. And 2 people from the FDA, if you guys remember, two top FDA officials resigned because Biden was trying to push the booster shots. I'm shocked that they stood their ground and they're like, listen, yeah, if you're 65 and up, it's different from being like 16 years old. You have a different risk of, death by COVID. You also have a different risk probably of like having a severe case. They have this data. They know this. It's just some people care and some people don't. Let's listen to the very, very sane Lena Wen. I guess she's like an expert that they have on CNN, but she cites some Israeli data, and she was talking a couple of days ago about how, she really hopes that they approve these booster shots. Let's take a listen.
Yes, at this point, I would find it really surprising, Kate, if the FDA does not come out in favor of boosters in some way, at least allowing boosters to be used. And that's because when we look at the Israeli data, and there were scientists from the Israeli Ministry of Health that just presented their data to this FDA committee, I found it to be extremely compelling. I mean, they found, for example, that getting that third booster dose reduces infection by 11-fold and more than 15-fold against severe infection for people over the age of 60. And so I think the burden of proof would be on the FDA committee at this point to explain to the American people why we do not need boosters.
Which is what they did. They did explain to the American people why they didn't. And it's interesting because she references the Israeli data of over 60 or 65, and she was saying that it was doing, good work. You could re-listen to it again for exactly what she said. And the FDA did acknowledge, well, I don't know that they talked about that data. I didn't watch the whole thing. But they did say, well, for older people, sure, but for younger people, and they did give their reason for why they don't want it for 16 and up. And I find it interesting that she references that Israeli data. There's also some other Israeli data that we're going to listen to again. I know I played it before, but Fauci talking about it, I think it's one of the most important clips of the last couple months because it shows that he pretty much agrees that it might be true. And I just want to, before I read it, it's in Bloomberg Business. They posted it right to their social media. And I just want to let people know that it's out there. This says a previous bout of COVID may prevent Delta infection better than a Pfizer shot. So that's mainstream Bloomberg now out of the Israeli data that I haven't heard her talk about yet. Maybe she has, where they're saying maybe, just maybe, and according to their studies, that getting the actual infection and having antibodies protects you better than the Pfizer shot, which is a crazy claim. You hear Bloomberg say that, you hear Israel say that. It's like, wow, what? You're saying that natural immunity might be what? So someone asked Fauci, Sanjay Gupta, listen to Fauci's answer because I think it speaks volumes. And the fact that even he wasn't really able to brush it off really shows how credible this data might be. Let's take a look.
There are people who are vaccinated who want to get an additional level of protection. Why not allow them to do that? Again, information from the CDC.
Oh, wait. Hold on, real quick. I guess we're gonna watch this real quick because I put it first. This is CNN from a few months ago, where they're admitting in Massachusetts that most people who had like breakthrough infections. Let's just listen to what she says. I forgot I put this first.
Turning crucial things we were told about COVID upside down. The CDC revealing tonight that 74% of COVID cases in Barnstable County, Massachusetts, home to Provincetown, where there was a recent outbreak, were found in people who were fully vaccinated. And they say now that the vaccinated are just as likely to spread the virus as those who are not vaccinated. And that, of course, is contrary to what was widely.
All right. So she said that was on CNN, by the way. They had done a study, I guess, a couple months ago, and they found in a Massachusetts area, most people with the breakthrough infections were vaccinated. She said, whoa, that's really different. Well, it's also different from this. And then we're going to play the Fauci clip where she told people while they were getting it, like, oh, yeah, like you're not.
Our data from the CDC today suggests, that vaccinated people do not carry the virus, don't get sick, and that it's not just in the clinical trials, but it's all.
So that's why they're like shocked because the CDC director, they were like, if you get the vaccine, you're not even going to transmit the virus. Well, that's not true. Well, if you get it, you're not going to do this. And then they're like, well, that's not what's happening in that area. But let's listen to why that might be. I'm not sure, but maybe this is why that's happening. Let's listen.
And just real quickly.
By the way, I think this is the most important news clip of the last couple months. I'm not overhyping. I'm serious because Fauci gets asked with the question of what do you think about the study out of Israel where they're claiming that natural immunity actually protects you better than the Pfizer shot. And Fauci doesn't even really shoot it down. He's like, yeah, let's talk about it. I think that might be true. Like it's great. This should be everywhere.
there was a study that came out of Israel about natural immunity. And basically the headline was that natural immunity provides a lot of protection, even better than the vaccines alone. What are people to make of that? So as we talk about vaccine mandates, I get calls all the time. People say, I've already had COVID, I'm protected. And now the study says maybe even more protected than the vaccine alone. Should they also get the vaccine? How do you make the case to them?
That's a really good point, Sanjay. I don't have a really firm answer for you on that. That's something that we're going to have to discuss regarding the durability of the response. The one thing the paper from Israel didn't tell you is whether or not, as high as the protection is with natural infection, what's the durability compared to the durability of a vaccine. So it is conceivable that you got infected, you're protected, but you may not be protected for an indefinite period of time. So I think that is something that we need to sit down and discuss seriously, because you very appropriately pointed out it is an issue, and there could be an argument for saying what you said.
There could be an argument for saying what you said. What he said was Israel's studies are saying that natural immunity may be better than the Pfizer shot, and Fauci concedes that might be true. What's interesting is if you listen, the only pushback he has is, well, that's true, maybe, but we don't know how long natural immunity lasts. I agree, we don't. But also, when it comes to the Pfizer shot, the people like Fauci, Biden, Lena Wen, et cetera, that are pushing for the booster shots, if you listen to them, something that they often reference is the waning immunity from the Pfizer shot. So, we don't know how long that natural immunity lasts, but we also don't know how long the Pfizer and the Moderna and the Johnson & Johnson last. And apparently people like Fauci and Lena Wen think they don't last that long because they're very quick to put a booster shot out. So this is like a real debate going on in the scientific community. It's propaganda when they say the science is settled, you can't disagree with the experts. It's like, yeah, you should be smart and researched and not just spout off whatever. But at the same time, the experts at the World Health Organization do not agree with the experts in the Biden administration. The experts at the FDA seem to not agree with the experts on CNN sometimes. So there is a conversation to be had about the Pfizer shot, the natural immunity, how long it lasted. And remember, folks, as far as COVID-19 and this whole pandemic, it's like their resources of studying it, or I would say, I guess, rather like they don't know that much as they know about something they've studied for 80, 90 years. And if, they don't even know where it came from. At first, they said you couldn't talk about a lab leak theory. It's not possible. It's propaganda. It's a conspiracy theory. And then they eventually conceded that it might be true. Fauci went in front of Congress and said, I was not funding gain of function research, whatever. And then these papers came out of The Intercept, and it seems like it points to receipts that prove that he was not being very accurate. And even virologists at Rutgers, one of the main guys there, I think his name is Richard Ebright, he even admitted, and he's no conservative or Trump fan or anything. He's just like pretty liberal from what I've seen. He even admitted that proved that Fauci lied in front of Congress. That's not my words. Those are Richard Ebright. So that's the presentation for the day. Very interesting stuff. Amazing that the FDA actually held their ground. Pretty impressive, actually. And my favorite, once again, I'll hold it up again. This is my favorite for Facebook. My favorite headline of the last week or so. I have to do this because they love the Washington Post. So I'm not saying this. Ready? It says, perspective, natural immunity to COVID is powerful. Policymakers seem to be afraid to say so. So Fauci pretty much suggested that study might be true. I wonder why policymakers are afraid to say so. Maybe I'll just hold it up for a minute. Because listen, this is not anomaly. This is Washington Post. I wonder why. Is there a lobbying firm that pays off politicians for your immune system? Is there a natural immunity complex like big oil or military industrial complex or climate change or big farm? I don't think there is. So I don't know. I'm just going to throw this out there. I'm not trying to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but just maybe politicians are being bought off. Maybe politicians sold out decades ago. Maybe this was common knowledge before Trump got into office. Maybe everybody understood that until you propagandist liars just started spewing off, hate these people, you hate Trump, you hate this. And then now people just believe whatever they're told like a programmed robot. I wonder why policymakers don't want to talk about the immune system. Washington Post. I wonder, could it be the fact that one of the most powerful lobbying firms in the world, one of the most powerful lobbying, I would say, categories in the world, in the country certainly, is the industry that's making tens of billions of dollars, set to make $1 trillion over the course of time if this holds up? Could there be some incentive? Are we supposed to act like that's a conspiracy theory? Are people this stupid? Seriously? You know, I'm not an angry guy. I've been having a great week, but it's like, before I end, you know, they talked about horse deworm. That might be the dumbest propaganda lie ever. And I'm not even saying that obviously don't take it, or, you know, I'm not telling people what to take or what not to take. I'm not saying that at all. But here's what I will say. I checked, and this is right on my Twitter at Legendary Energy. I went to the CDC's own website, right? And this is not for COVID, and I'm not saying it's for COVID, but in general, the CDC's website, they have a website for overseeing refugee health guidance, and they give guidelines to refugees for what they should and shouldn't take, vaccines, medication, etc., because they want refugees to not be disease-ridden when they come to America. Understandable. The word Ivor blank blank, the medicine that can't be named that Joe Rogan talked about and took, is mentioned on the CDC website for refugees 47 times. 47 times. 47 times it says Ivor blank blank. There's no mention of horses because they're not talking about horses. They're talking about humans, and that's the regimen for refugees that they recommend. And Jimmy Kimmel, the propagandist who sits in his Freemason temple in Hollywood, that's where his studio is. I'm not starting a rumor. If you look at his Hollywood studio, it's literally a Freemason temple. He sits there and ignores all the trash and crap all over the streets and degeneracy and homelessness and girls getting just like raped on the streets and stuff. I've literally watched a girl get jumped on the street in broad daylight, like 15 seconds from Jimmy Kimmel's little Freemason temple. And he sits up there on television and lies to the camera and says, horse dewormer. It's like that product is on the CDC's website 47 times for humans. I'm not saying you should take it for COVID. I'm not a doctor. I don't prescribe it. I don't talk about it because I don't know crap about it. Seriously. I'm not saying it for any other reason besides I'm not a big like medication guru. So I don't talk about things I don't know. But he's brainwashing people, and he's a moron, an idiot, or he knows it, and they keep repeating it. And all the news hosts keep repeating it, and even Reddit's talking about, like, how dumb do you have to be to say that? You could say it doesn't work for COVID. You could say it's not a good medication to take for COVID, for sure. But to act like it's not on the CDC's website 47 times, not on the World Health Organization website for the use in humans, you're just a liar. You're lying to people. You are lying and misleading people. And my question for people like Lena Wen on CNN, or pretty much anybody, this is an open conversation. When it comes to all these studies that they're doing, right? You have all these scientists and big pharma people, and they're studying. Here's a study that I want you to do. I don't think they've done it yet because I think the results would be pretty shocking, okay? I think they'd be pretty shocking. Why don't you study how many people you made fatter over the course of the pandemic, okay? How many tens of millions of people did you make less healthy? Did you make fatter? Did you put on a worse diet? Did you take away their schedule? Because it's not even just exercise. But if you work a 9 to 5, you walk to your car, you walk out a car, you walk into the office. That's important. People didn't walk for 3 months because they couldn't go anywhere. It was like fear-monger. You scared everybody. You added stress. Add all of that up. Add up all the fear you put in people's minds, Lena Wen. Add up all the stress. Add up all the mental problems that people are having, and add up all the extra drug use that people had and people that relapsed because they didn't have access to an actual schedule or sports and stuff. You know, look up the childhood obesity numbers of kids who are getting fatter because they weren't allowed to play sports and do stuff. And then look at all the data of what happens if you go from here to here in health. How would you deal with COVID? How would you deal with cancer? How would you deal with heart disease or diabetes? Things that you probably wouldn't have had without it in some cases. They did way more damage than they'll ever admit. And they're not studying that. They're just circling around the medicine that they want to give to people. They're not studying real science, real health, mental health, physical health, how they negatively impacted that. And the studies are already out on childhood obesity. It's up. The studies are already out on suicides and overdoses. It's up. They're out. But I want them to add all that up and weigh out all the cons of all the destruction, all the death, all the unhealthiness that they caused, and weigh it against the pros of what they're doing, they'll never do a full-on study like that, because that full-on study would prove they're making people less healthy. Yes, you have to have a medicine or health routine of some sort, whether it be food or diet or exercise and medication, or I guess like vitamins, whatever. Everyone has their own schedule. That's part of health, but another part of it's physical health. Another part of it's mental health. And when you cut off accesses and resources that people do to keep mentally and physically healthy, you're killing people. They killed people. Don't let them tell you that, they never even said anything to me because I'm a strong guy. But in general, I'm well-spoken, I research, and it's like, you killed grandma. What do you think happens when you lock grandma in her house for 3 months and she doesn't get to play chess or hang out with her friends? Her bones start to whittle down. Her body starts to whittle down. Her mind. You guys killed grandma. You guys are the murderers, okay? You guys hurt more people than you help. For what? When are you going to stop? You never want to stop, you sickos. All you do is lie. All you do is hurt people. You guys are like darkness personified in human form. You're like Satan's little favorites, okay? You guys are like abusers, child abusers, adult abusers. Misery loves company. That's what they used to tell me. And you guys are miserable. And you want the whole world to be miserable. No concerts. Put the kids in masks. Space them out. Scare them. Devils, sickos, evil, wicked deceivers of humanity, hurting millions. That's what you're doing. And giving up the moral high ground or the scientific high ground to these psychopaths who can't even agree with each other because they're all full of doo-doo, folks. Hurting people. That's what they're doing. Do a big study of all the people you made less physically healthy, all the people you made less mentally healthy, all the drug overdoses, all the suicides, all the tuberculosis missed appointments, hundreds of thousands of people dead, missed cancer screenings. Add all of that up. I'm talking about all of it. You've added this up, added this up. Oh, yeah, most people in the hospital are obese. Yeah. Well, what happens if you make tens of millions of people more obese? Now, does that impact hospitalization? Of course it does. You murderers, you sickos, you abusers. You want to lock people down and treat them like slaves and say that you're a hero? No, you're a zero. And I don't care how much they lie. The science is on my side. The data is on my side. And I could use, this is how good I am. I could use why, and I'm not even bragging, all praise to God, okay? It's not on me. God has blessed me with another day to breathe air and go on a walk, and I'm forever grateful. But I don't even need right-wing news outlets to prove my point. I don't need Fox News. I don't need Breitbart. I don't need a conspiracy blog that I don't even read. I can make my argument with Washington Post and CNN. That's how good my argument is, because if you read enough, they start to talk about it. I wonder why policymakers are afraid to talk about your immune system, because they don't give a shit about your immune system. If they could rip out your immune system and install a pharmacy, product computer in place, they would probably do it. Okay? That was one of my tweets one time that went viral. I said, if they could rip out your immune system and install a pharmacy product, they probably would do that. That's how little they care about any of this stuff. Oh, you're such a bad person, Joe Rogan, because he's smart and successful and made $180 million, crazy money, being able to talk about stuff that you guys won't talk about, and he works out and he beat the disease in 2 or 3 days. Oh yeah, he's so bad because he takes care of himself. It's not rocket science, and it's certainly not like you don't need a freaking PhD to know if you're 700 pounds and you're 55 and you look like Joe Rogan and you work out all the time and you eat good, you're probably better off being Joe Rogan, eating good, working out, and taking care of yourself and being mentally healthy. Duh. That's the science they don't care about, because these are a bunch of medical authoritarian psychopaths who just literally want to micromanage it, and they don't even take care of themselves. It's unbelievable. It's obvious. It's blaring. And more people like Nicki Minaj, not that that's like, the top expert, but are speaking out. And she said a lot of people agree with me. They just don't want to say anything. Of course they do, because most people have basic common sense. They might not like Donald Trump. They might not like Joe Biden. They might be conservative. They might be liberal. They might not care about politics at all. Most people don't give a crap about politics. They're not even in this debate. But most people have common sense. I talked to somebody yesterday who said, yeah, I didn't like Donald Trump, but he's like, I don't understand why they don't ever talk about exercise. This is his weighing in on the pandemic. He's like, yeah, I don't know left wing, right wing, but why don't they talk about it? And I'm like, that's because you have basic common sense, which they hate. They hate people who tell the truth. They hate people who think, well, if you can mandate a lockdown, what if you mandated jumping jacks? What if you made everybody do 100 jumping jacks a day and we cut obesity by 25% and then hospitalizations were down because obesity's down? If you could mandate a lockdown and treat people like slaves, can't you mandate a workout? You might have the same sort of risk ratio. It's like, yeah, you might get hurt working out, but we have no liability like the companies who make the products that we're pushing down your throat. Yeah, of course they could mandate. They just don't care. They don't care how fat you get. They don't care how lazy you get. Because a person who doesn't take care of themselves is a person who will go along with whatever they say. And that's most people. You can't even feel bad for most people because most people don't want to lead their own lives, right? And if they don't have God or some religion to look up to, they're probably just getting led in circles by these people. So the real solution to this is taking control of your own life and caring about yourself enough to not just let somebody else decide everything that you do. But that's where they want most people to be big. They don't care if childhood obesity up. A fat kid's going to be a kid who will want to, and I'm not trying to be rude or mean, but if he's obese, now he's going to probably be on more pharmacy pills, okay? Hold on, I got to just turn that off. If you're bigger, you're more susceptible to more illnesses and diabetes and heart disease, and you might be on a pill by the time you're 19 if you're they don't see that as like a threat. Like, oh my God, that's so bad. We're making people on. They barely talk about it. And that's what they did. Google childhood obesity up during the pandemic. It's not natural. It's not like people woke up like, oh my God, like our kids just got fatter by mistake and now they're having more health problems. No, they made your kids fatter. They made this country more out of shape and less healthy by closing down sports and recess and school and activities and scaring the crap out of their psycho parents or good parents to the point where they didn't want to let them do anything. And now you're going to suffer with the health consequences because it's a full circle approach. Yes, you could do that. Yes, you could do that. But these people don't even want you to talk about it. They want to act like it's not even happening and scare people about talking about it. It's unbelievable. I'll pray for them. And that's where we're at. God bless you guys. Have a good day. I'm not going to stay too long today, but people got to stop lying. They got to stop being so wicked and definitely have no fear, folks. Do not fear these wicked people because they'll never stop. They feed off of that. It's like misery loves company. The most miserable people want to be the ones controlling society. Here's how I think, okay? I don't like to go to a bar and a club all the time, but sometimes I want to turn up. When I don't want to turn up, well, the club's dirty. Well, the club has a lot of germs. People are making out and smoking and kissing each other and like spitting and, well, then don't go to the club or the bar. If you want to go have fun, go have fun. If you're worried about the dirtiness or the music's too loud or you don't want to drink, then don't go to the bar. What we're allowing people to do metaphorically is let these people who want to sit in their house all day, which is fine, make everybody else, oh, I want to shut the bar down because it's too dirty and I don't want to. Then stay your ass in home. Excuse my language. Stay your ass inside. Stay home. If you're so afraid of everything, lock your doors, close your windows, and don't go anywhere. But I'll tell you what, closing your windows is very unhealthy. You want an airflow, and also you want to get outside because it's not healthy to sit inside all day. But if you think it is, sit your ass inside all day. Stop. You can't close down the whole world because if you don't want to go to the concert, don't go to the concert. If you're afraid of the baseball game, don't go to the baseball game. If you don't want to go on a cruise, don't go on a cruise. Sit your ass inside. We can't have the most miserable people in society locking everybody down forever, testing everyone all the time. If you're that afraid, please stay inside. I promise you the world will be a better place because of it, because misery loves company. And these miserable people want the whole world to be their company. It's like, no, if I don't want to go somewhere, I don't go. I don't close down the venue because it's not for me. That's what these people want to do. It's unbelievable. I'm going to just take off and keep it short and sweet. God bless you guys. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. My Telegram page is Dream Rare Chat. It's in the description somewhere, t.me/Dream Rare Chat. Got a lot of stuff going on. Always busy, always working. But in general, enjoy your weekend. Have a good weekend. They want to take your joy. They want to take what is fun in life away, like Australia is doing. Go have fun. Enjoy yourself. Don't buy into the fear. Don't be stressed out. And to people on the media that I spoke about in this video, etc., there's a conversation to be had about medication. There's a conversation to be had about fake news or bad theories. But also, we have to talk about mental and physical health. And also, you guys got to stop lying. Or if you do lie, you have to understand why people like me and Joe Rogan and Eric Weinstein and others are doing really well. Because not everybody wants to live in this dark, sicko society where you guys read a script and lie and scare the crap out of people all the time. So they're losing a lot of power and a lot of momentum. And the more they lose, the more they try to shut everybody else down. Nicki Minaj is right. They are trying to be authoritarian. They are trying to take away her freedom of speech. She says, you know, Black women used to not be able to do this and do that. And she's right. So people should appreciate, not just her, but everyone, the freedom that we have in this country. Because if you read about the Bolshevik Revolution, or you read about the Armenian genocide, or you read about World War II, like bad things have happened. And we lived in a really good time where we didn't have dictators. We didn't have authoritarianism. We didn't have lockdowns. And now we do. And it's like the most naive or foolish people are like these pseudo intellectuals like, no, this is all really smart and good. It's like there's pros and cons. But if you can't see the cons of what they've been doing the last year, you're not using your brain. Maybe they like told you in school you were a good boy because you turned in your papers on time. But that's not intelligence. That's obedience. And that's why a lot of people are not that smart, because when you're K through 12, yeah, it's good to read. It's good to be a good person, but they're grading you on obedience a lot of the time. Are you listening like a good boy? Are you listening to mommy and daddy teacher? A good boy, good boy. So these people get a PhD, they get out in the real world, and they're professional followers. All they know is obedience. Intelligence is not obedience. It's good to be able to read and write and learn, no question. It's nice to have a college degree if you didn't have a dumb professor. But that's why the world is the way they is, because people think they're so smart just because they're so obedient. Intelligence is not obedience. And in general, I don't care what people do, but you got to stop being so mean and locking down air. It's like air is good, working out is good, and that's how I feel. God bless you guys. God bless America. Telegram, everything online. Appreciate you guys. I'll be here as long as I can be, doing what I can, and have a great weekend. That's important. They don't even talk about that anymore. Having fun, enjoying yourself. They want you to be scared forever. It's like this hamster wheel of fear that just feeds into their sicko like pay grade or something. It's like, okay, we get it. There's this thing, there's this medication, there's this medication, there's this method. When are we going to talk about real health and getting health? They want to do this forever. So break out, folks. A lot of people are, and it's been a great year for me. I hope it's been a good year for you. Enjoy yourself. Have a good weekend and make the most of your situation, regardless of what it is. This is the weekend. Have a good time. God bless you guys. I'll be back soon.